Welcome to the Kurt Saxon Show, your countdown to the future. First, I want you to take down my phone number in case you want to call. The number is 501-437-2963. In case you didn't get it, here it is again, 501-437-2963. Sorry, but we can't accept cold calls. Tonight's topic is saving money with a thermos bottle from Volume 3 of The Survivor. Many subscribers write that they will eventually buy all my books, but they can't afford them all at this time. Many are students on limited allowances. Some are on Social Security or pensions. Others are on welfare, as I was after an injury. When I got $86 per month in 1969, I paid $50 for rent and had only $36 left for food and incidentals. Even so, I ate better than before. Prices were indeed lower then, but surprisingly, the costs of the more basic foods have hardly changed. For instance, 50 pounds of hard red winter wheat, the highest in protein, minerals, and vitamins, averages $14. 200 breakfasts at 7.5 cents. Brown rice, also higher in nutrition than white, costs $14 for 25 pounds. Also 200 servings, rice swells twice as large as wheat. These are bought in bulk at any health food store. Wheat and rice are the staple foods of billions, and if prepared my way, will fill you up, give you boundless energy, and cost nothing if you consider that the saving in gas or electricity will offset their purchase prices. I don't mean that wheat and rice plain is what I'm asking you to live on. When is the last time you've eaten a potato plain? I'm simply suggesting you process all your food in inexpensive, energy-saving ways and eat better than you ever have for less than $10 a week. Then you can not only afford all my books, but many other things you wanted but had to do without because most of your food budget goes to pay others to do what you should learn to do for yourself. Thermos cooking is one of the first steps in eating better for so much less. I get to steaming, the crock pot, and the pressure cooker and subsequent issues. As a survivalist, you'll have to understand food preparation, or you might as well eat, drink, and be merry in the short time you have left. A great factor which makes this course practical and easy to understand is that since it's by a man, it is basic, gut level, and moron simple. You won't even need to open a cookbook. First, the thermos. There are 3 kinds, but only one is practical. Forget the cheap plastic ones lined with styrofoam. These might cook oatmeal and white rice, but do not have the heat-holding power you need. Silvered glass thermoses are fine, but a bump will break them. Also, since you are going to do actual cooking and will use a fork to remove the contents, they won't hold up. The only practical cooking thermos is the Aladdin Stanley. It is lined with stainless steel, is well insulated, and will keep steaming hot for up to 24 hours and holds a quart. It is also unbreakable with a lifetime warranty. It costs $19 at Walmart or can be ordered through any sporting goods store. It would save you its price in a few days. If you have a family, get 2 or 3. Most foods cook at 180 degrees or more. We are used to boiling, which is 212 degrees, and foods do cook faster the higher the temperature. But if time is not important, cooking at a lower temperature is even better, as most vitamins are not broken down. Thus, if you cook at a minimum heat, you save nutrition. A great factor in thermos cooking is the saving in the cost of energy. Whereas it would take about 2 hours to cook whole grain wheat or nearly an hour to cook brown rice, thermos cookery takes only 5 minutes to cook anything. So it is indeed possible to save as much in energy as you spend on the food. You can imagine the convenience of thermos cookery in camping, which would save on wood, weight of food carried, and no food odors to alert bears or enemies. Thermos cookery is also an advantage to anyone living where he is not allowed to cook. There are no cooking odors to tip off the landlord. First, you need the thermos. Then you need a heat source. If you are in a non-cooking room, buy a cheap, one-burner hot plate from your local Walmart, Target, Sears, etc. You'll need a 1-quart saucepan. You'll also need a special funnel to quickly pour the pan's contents into the thermos, plus a spoon or fork to help the last of the food into the funnel. To make the funnel, cut off the bottom 4 inches from a gallon plastic milk container. If you don't buy milk and can't find an empty container, go to your nearest laundromat. You will find in the trash receptacle an empty gallon bleach bottle. Use that the same as the milk container, but wash it until there is no more bleach odor. The first step in thermos cookery is to fill the thermos with water up to the point reached by the stopper. Empty the water into the saucepan and make a scratch or other indelible mark at the water surface inside the saucepan. This will allow you to put just enough water in the saucepan, as too much will leave food out and too little will give you less cooking water. Just to test how the cooker works, start with 4 ounces of wheat. You don't need to buy 50 pound. You can buy 2 pound from your health food store for about 80 cents. This would give you 8 meals at 10 cents each. In the evening, put 4 ounces in your saucepan plus a half teaspoon of salt to prevent flatness, even if you intend to sweeten it. Fill to the mark with water. If you have hot water, let the tap run until it is the hottest. Tests have shown that less energy is used in using hot tap water than in boiling from cold. Bring the contents to a rolling boil, stirring all the while. This will take from 3 to 5 minutes. Then, quickly but carefully, swirl and pour the contents into the funnel and help any lagging matter from the pan to the funnel and into the thermos. Tap firmly but not tightly. Shake and lay the thermos on its side to keep the contents even. Next morning, open the thermos and pour its contents into the saucepan. With 4 ounces of dry wheat, you'll now have at least 3/4 pound of cooked wheat and about a pint of vitamin and mineral-enriched water. It has a pleasant taste. Drink it. You can now put milk and sweetener on it, or margarine, salt, and pepper, etc. If you can eat the whole 3/4 of a pound, you'll be surprised at how energetic you feel for the next several hours. An added bonus is its high fiber content. Having tried the 4-ounce portion, you might next use 8 ounces. This will absorb most of the water. It's unlikely that you could eat 1.5 pounds of cooked whole grain wheat. You can either divide it and eat the other half for supper, or if you're a family man, make it the family breakfast food to replace the expensive brand. If you have children, get them into the act by fantasizing they are rangers on a jungle patrol. For lunch, prepare a few ounces of hamburger or other meat chopped finely, plus chopped potatoes and other vegetables the night before. After breakfast, put these and the right amount of water in the saucepan and prepare as usual. At lunchtime, you'll have a quart of really delicious stew. Since nothing leaves the thermos in cooking, as contrasted to the flavor-leaving stew cooking on the stove, you can understand the better tasting, higher vitamin content of thermos stew. Lunch and possibly supper shouldn't cost you more than 25 cents. The brown rice dishes could also be either main course or dessert. Brown rice has a much greater swelling factor than wheat, so 4 ounces of rice will pretty much fill the thermos. You can put vegetables and meat in it to cook, or try a favorite of mine. It is 4 ounces brown rice, 9 cents, 1 ounce powdered milk, 10 cents in a large box, 2 ounces of raisins, 22 cents, 1 teaspoon of salt, some cinnamon, and 4 saccharin tablets. Cook overnight. This is 46 cents for 1.5 pounds of dessert. With some experimenting, you can become an expert in thermos cookery. If you are single and live alone, you could conceivably eat nothing except what you cooked in a thermos. But if you are married, and especially if you have children, don't push it. Even with the economy of this system, it's not worth alienating your family. If your wife doesn't like it, challenge her to make the food tastier and think up some thermos recipes. You might also tell her the advantages of thermos cookery. For one thing, she'd spend much less time in the kitchen. What with the expected brownouts, she could do all the cooking in 5, 10, 15 minutes, depending on how many thermos bottles she used. Another important factor is that, especially during the heat waves, the home wouldn't suffer the added heat from the kitchen. This would also cut down on the air conditioning costs. A tip you may not have known is that the pilot light in a gas stove not only raises the temperature in the kitchen, but also accounts for 1/4 of all the gas burned in the stove. Matches are much cheaper. Turn the pilot light off. Be sure to get Survivor Volume 1 for a full course on inexpensive but tasty and nourishing food, plus sprouting for green vegetables, soy milk, tofu, etc. Okay, here I am again. The phone number is 501-437-2963, and in case you just wandered onto the program, the frequency is 5.810 megahertz. Now, the mailing address for the information packet is $10, and it includes a sample copy of U.S. Militia, the only magazine for community defense, Shoestring Entrepreneur, and the David Koresh Last Testament. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Good evening. I liked your part on the cookery. I've done that myself with a pot covered with sleeping bag. But your idea is much more portable.
Yes, it is. Well, what you were doing was the old Dutch oven.
Right, yeah. I'd stick it in the sink and cover my sleeping bag or a couple of wool blankets on top.
Mm-hmm.
First time I did, I didn't think it would work, but it was excellent. It was very good.
Well, anything that keeps the heat from going away is going to cook the food.
Yeah, excellent. I'd like to tell you an incident about some gun control incident. May I?
Sure.
I purchased a firearm from a licensed dealer, and went out of the country and came back to the country, and I got a notice from my dealer. He said I had to give it back. It was a semi-automatic firearm, and the Bureau, the BATF, said that it could be too easily converted, and therefore I had to give it back.
Yes.
I never heard of that before. I was totally blown away. I couldn't believe I had to give my gun back.
Well, did they give you your money back?
They said I can trade it for one that's been made so you can't do it at all. That's less easily convertible or something. I had no idea the one I bought would do this, you know, but I couldn't believe it. I thought I've got to get my gun back because the ATF told me to. I've never heard that. Maybe I'm just too inexperienced or something.
Well, now, what was it?
AKM.
AKM.
Yeah, 7.62 by 39, Egyptian made. It looks just like the AK-47.
Yes.
And semi-automatic. And they said it was too easily convertible. So you have to give it back.
Well, would you like Kerry to discuss it? He's our gun expert.
Sure.
Okay, Kerry, get on here.
I never heard of that.
Yes?
Well, I've had an FFL for years, and along with Kurt, and we would have got a notification in the mail. Personally, I would have tried to fought it. I just wouldn't have up and just gave it to them.
Yeah, I thought about calling the NRA or someplace.
Well, why didn't you call the ATF?
Well, I'm going to do that in the morning.
You haven't turned it in yet, have you?
Excuse me?
You haven't turned it in yet,
Oh,
have
no, I haven't done anything yet.
you? Yeah, well,
I found out this afternoon when I got home.
You're not breaking any laws. If the state you live in didn't have that particular gun on a banning list, you don't have to turn it in.
Well, I thought that they said I got 5 days. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's a crock of crap.
Yeah, I thought it was too. I couldn't believe it. I thought somebody was playing a joke on me.
Now, unless your dealer was just careless, and like in California, there's a bunch of assault rifles on a ban list. Unless for some reason he was careless and he accidentally got a hold of a weapon in stock that was on a ban list in your particular. What state are you from?
Missouri.
Oh, well, unless it was banned and he inadvertently sold it to you, then I think maybe they'd have a leg to stand on, but they can't come to you and tell you to give up your weapon. I don't think. Call the NRA and then call them.
Yeah, that's what I'm...
Well, I would rather call the ATF.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe I should call them and talk to them.
Because the NRA, you could get in trouble calling the NRA because they are so pro-gun happy that they're probably going to just wash it all over, see, and then want you to cause yourself some trouble.
Right.
But the best thing to do is go to whatever authority was named and say, get his name and say, okay, look, Johnny, what's the scam on this? Because maybe the guy just sold me a gun and then maybe he just wants it back and he's leading me around the block.
Right. That's what I kind of thought at first. I trusted the person pretty good. I've known him for years.
Well, did you get a good price on it?
He said, well, if you want to, just sell it, you know. Or
yeah.
say it was sold, but I don't want any trouble if they were to come back and make sure it was sold, you know.
Yeah. Well, did you get it for a good price?
Yeah, well, it was a reason. It was fair market value.
Well, you see, he might have found another buyer for it later that would give him $100 more, and he gave you a song and dance about it.
I'll give him a call. I'll give him a call tomorrow in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I'd call the ATF because that's always the best source. They've got all the books there that they can look stuff up, and they're supposed to be up on that.
Well, that's what the first thing I'm going to do in the morning. I'll call the ATF before I call anybody else and just, look, here's what I've got. Is this really the way it is, you know?
Well, just tell him the story, and he might say, well, look, the guy just probably wanted his gun back.
It sounded so bizarre I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It was from what I thought was a trustworthy person, but I'm going to get a copy of the notice anyway.
Yeah.
And go from there. But anyway, I wanted to share that with you, and thank you for the program.
Well, you're very welcome.
Have a good night.
Sure enough.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, the only reason I can see at all for rapid-fire weapons of any sort is that you can shoot as often as you can pull the trigger. But to deliberately convert a firearm so that it wastes ammo is silly. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Yeah, Kurt, love your program.
Thank you.
Well, a few programs ago, you was talking about, some people talking about, how you store food and your water and stuff. And
yeah.
Say, we found a place that we get most of our stuff from that's pretty reasonable. Like they got anywhere from 5-gallon up to 55-gallon drums.
Yeah.
Got the heads that come off and you reseal them and water drums and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to, I can give you the address if you're interested.
Well, you do that. Do they have a brochure they can send out?
What you do, you send them a self-addressed stamped envelope, and they send you about 5, 6 pages or more of stuff they got.
Okay, that'll be good. Okay, then give the number. And now, you people take it down, because we're really not set up to keep repeating information at our...
Name of the place is called JD's Enterprises, or just JD's.
JD's.
Yeah, and the address is 125 Northeast 500.
125 Northeast 500.
Yeah, and that's in Warrensburg. Yeah, just Warrensburg, Missouri.
Warrensburg, Missouri.
And the zip code is 64093. So we got
wait, let's get that repeat, because that's what... See, the zip code is the most important, because even if you don't have the guy's name right, well, it'll at least get there to the general area.
Okay.
Give me the zip code again.
It's 64093.
Yes.
Like I say, they got they're pretty reasonable prices, I think. We saw their ad and we sent some little self-addressed envelopes and sent stuff back. And, pretty reasonable prices. All brand new stuff, not used. So you don't worry about being contaminated or anything.
Well, I wouldn't store anything but like soybeans and stuff in the 55-gallon drums, because if you store wheat or corn or anything like that, you got one weevil egg in there, and it's going to take the whole thing. So it's best to store your wheat, and rice and your smaller grains and corn, of course, in like 1-gallon containers.
Yeah, they have those too. But like I said, we got our red winter wheat in these open top 8-gallon ones, and we use dry ice method to keep the bugs out.
Yeah, well, it's a lot cheaper if you put them in, if you transfer them to 1-gallon things. And of course, if you got plenty of dry ice, just drop a chip of that in there too, in the bottom.
Well, it's fun. Let's pass the information on to you. Say you're doing great and love your program.
Appreciate it. Did you send?
We should be on satellite so we can pick you up clear.
Well, I'm sorry. I'll have to think about that. Did you order my packet?
Oh, we've been a member for years.
Oh, good.
I have all your books too. And
you like them?
Excuse me?
You like the books?
Oh, I love them. They're the best source of information people can get.
Well, I'm glad.
Like I say, well, you keep up the good work, Kurt.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you now.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, again, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Well, good evening, Kurt. The story on that gentleman's rifle is Egyptian Mahdi's, which are AK-47 copies, prefixed with AC on the serial number. That's Alpha Charlie.
Yeah.
Where the receivers were actually machine guns that the Egyptians had taken all the parts out and put semi-auto in. And then filled up all the holes from where the original machine gun parts needed to have pins.
Yes.
The BATF folks have decided it's too easy to go find those holes and re-drill them. So if he's got AC, or anybody has AC, that's the story. Now, whether they actually take it back or not, I suppose they could.
Yeah. Well, okay, if the ATF is worried, it's best to just do what they say, because, you see, if you get them excited, then they're going to get all flighty, and you know how public servants are.
Well, sadly, yes, sir.
So just bless their hearts. They're doing the best they can, and sometimes it's none too good. But if it worries them, learn to shoot. See, that's the best thing. If you learn to shoot, you don't need fully automatic anyway.
No, the issue isn't fully automatic. It's just that's just another.
Well, that's something that would worry the feds.
Well, that's just another thing that slipped past BATF, and they've got to try and correct their troubles.
Yes, well, it's just more paperwork for them and anguish for other people, and just best to dispose of the gun and get a 38 or better still, a 30-06.
Sure. But you have a good evening.
You too.
Enjoy.
Okay, buddy. Bye-bye. Okay, again, the phone number is 501-437-2963. Whoops, here's a phone caller. Hello.
Yes, we got your address, but who do you make the check out to?
Kurt Saxon. That's Kurtsaxon.
S as in Sierra?
Yes.
AX as in X-ray OM.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, the phone number again is 501-437-2963, and the mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Hey, Kurt. Mike in Dallas, Texas.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, I understand you're going to be on the Jerry Springer Show.
Yeah, I called the show this morning, and Lisa told me that it would be playing in my area March 3rd. Now, that would be, I suppose, out of Channel 33 in Springfield, Missouri. Okay. I don't know when it would be playing around in Texas. See, what they do is they syndicate the show. It's not live like the Donahue or the Geraldo show. It's syndicated. That is, they make the tapes and they send the tapes out to the various stations, and then they play them when they want to, when they get around to it.
Okay.
And, of course, they don't wait too long to do it. So if it's going to hit here March 3rd, who knows, it might hit in your place tomorrow. So what I would suggest you to do was turn the Jerry Springer Show on each time it comes on, and then see if it has to do with a burglar being shot and then suing the house owner that that shot him. Okay. And then you'll know that's the program I'm on. And I come on about 1/3 of the program into the program, and we get a lot of applause, and it was a very fast-moving show. It was the only show I've ever gotten applause on, because people usually hate me, especially those Yankee audiences.
Okay, Kirk, I'll be looking for it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. Mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt here.
This is Bernice, Kurt.
Hello, Bernice.
I called. I was the cooking in the thermos was very interesting.
Yes.
But may I add my tidbit?
Sure, please.
You know, in the grocery store there is a, I think it's soup mix, and it's dehydrated vegetables.
Yes.
A packet of bouillon, and of course the seasoning.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps if you would add a tablespoon to your rice, and
yes,
perhaps a half a teaspoon, depending on your taste for salt,
mm-hmm,
and put it in with your rice, you might have a good hearty meal.
Oh, I'm sure you would, yes. Well, you can flavor that kind of stuff any way you want, but the nice thing about the flavoring is none of the flavor goes away like it does when you cook it in a pot.
That's true, true. That's why good old slow cooking.
Yes.
But, you know, the crock...
Oh, you can also cook your rice with onion soup, Carrie says.
No. The crock pots, you know, you can get the little metal inserts. They sell these little metal inserts.
I never knew that.
For cooking bread.
Oh?
Yes, yes. Now, this has been some years back now, whether they still offer them.
Well, I think if you get a crock pot now brand new, they'll give you a little pamphlet telling you how to use it and also how to order anything that goes with it.
Maybe they are, you know, the accessories.
Yeah, the accessories, and I'm sure it's been so long since I ordered my crock pot.
It's a nice little aluminum pot and has a cover to it.
Yes, you can make bread in a crock pot.
And it fits right down in the crock pot.
Well, that's great to know.
Yes. So, I'm listening, and I encourage everyone to start with the Survivor, because there is so much information in there. I love it.
Well, I'm glad.
And I thank my friend Gordon.
Yes, Gordon is a good man.
Yes, he is. He's a good friend. So, you keep on, Kurt, and we're listening.
Okay, thank you. Bye, Bernice. Okay, the phone number again is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Yes, sir. My name is Bill from Michigan.
Hi, Bill.
And I'm a new listener, and I was wondering if you had discussed the so-called war on drugs and what it's going to do to the real honest citizens of the United States. I just came out of a drug unit after about a year and 3 months as an officer, and what they're actually trying to do as compared to what they're telling people.
Well, the war on drugs is a fraud. It always has been. I lay that out in my editorial called Crime Pays, which I read one time on the air and which is going to appear in the next issue of U.S. Militia, which I'm working on now. We're expecting Tom Icom to send us an article on igniting squibs with a $10 to $15 remote control car thing that you buy at Walmart's or any toy store. Fantastic thing. And when he gets that in, then I'm going to have it all ready for publication. And then it'll take just a few days to print, and then that will go out. And then you can read that editorial, Crime Pays. See, the basis for the editorial is that we all know that crime pays the criminal.
Yes.
But our justice system is one of the biggest industries in our country.
Absolutely, sir.
Like just as an example, there are 30,000 cops in New York City alone being paid $400 and more a week. And if they should simply get rid of the criminals, I mean kill them,
yes, sir.
then they wouldn't need more than about 5,000 cops.
Yes.
And of course that would leave 25,000 New Yorkers unemployed.
Yes, sir. That's absolutely correct.
And when you take your a prison, it costs from 200 to 500 million to build a prison. The politicians get a good rake off usually. The contractors certainly make a bundle. The people supplying the prison make their livelihoods there. The guards are employed. And of course then you get to the courts, the judge, the attorney, the prosecuting, the defense attorney, the court reporter, the guy who sweeps up. They all live off criminality. And one example I gave was this little punk, 13 years old, with 96 arrests or something like that in Florida when they were searching for the people who killed that British tourist. Why, this guy's a gold mine to the justice system. He's in and out. He just, and over a lifetime, he would bring in millions of dollars to the justice system. That's why they let these people go.
That's absolutely correct. And another thing that after about a year and 3 months in the system, that I found out was that the so-called war on drugs, in my opinion, was nothing more than a way to attack honest citizens. If the CTRs for cash reporting.
What's a CTR?
Cash transaction report. If you withdraw or request more than a certain amount of cash, a report is made.
Yeah.
And sent to sent to Washington. And they recently changed the law, and I don't know if you're aware of it, that the minimum was dropped from 10,000 down to 2,000, and it was also changed that any teller, if in their opinion the transaction was suspicious, be it $10 or $100 or whatever, can fill out one of these forms and send it into Washington, and then the DEA has access instantly, along with U.S. Customs, DEA, and the U.S. Secret Service, and that goes instantly into a automatic computer system nationwide. And that means that if you withdraw even $100, if the teller feels it's suspicious, then automatically she can fill out one of these forms and it's automatically sent in. And to me, this isn't a war on drugs. It's simply a war on the citizens.
Well, I wouldn't even call it a war on the citizens. I would say that somebody's getting rich, especially the DEA. I bet every DEA is riding around on a confiscated Cadillac, and on weekends he takes his family out on a confiscated yacht and flies down to Bermuda for his vacation in a confiscated plane. I don't think that many bank clerks are going to take time to write out a report on a $100 cash withdrawal. But when it gets up to many thousands of dollars, yes, that would alert them, in the same sense that these halide lights, when a person makes a big purchase of halide lights, then that gets turned over to the, well, I don't know, I was wrong. It's not the halide lights purchase, but the halide lights use so much electricity that the electric company will turn in a person using a whole lot more electricity than usual because the DEA figures he's growing marijuana.
That's absolutely correct.
See, so this, I'm not, it's almost like the Justice Department has turned into a legal mafia.
That's absolutely correct.
And so if we should legalize drugs, well, if you want to ruin your mind, that's up to you. It's no sweat off my nose. And like our stupid President Clinton said the other day, he said, well, my brother was on drugs, and if everybody in his family is on something, it's a worst pack of white trash. I'm just glad it was voted out of our state. But anyway, he said, my brother was on drugs, and if drugs were legal, he would have died from drugs before now. Well, I'm saying, well, fiddle. Who cares? Better to get rid of one worthless Clinton than cost the lives of thousands of innocent people who aren't even involved.
That's true, especially when they're using the so-called war on drug to attack honest citizens.
Well, they do that. It's a way of putting money in their pockets. I don't think that the money confiscated is going to help the national debt.
It's absolutely true. If you have a DEA, FBI, or U.S. Customs Service forfeiture, goes into the general fund, not into a law enforcement fund.
Well, I bet before any of it gets to the general fund, a lot of it is put in pockets.
At least the people I worked with, they didn't pocket it personally.
Yeah.
But as far as going in to actually fight crime, it goes into the general fund, and I think we all agree anything that goes into the general fund will not forfeit right back into fighting real crime. Going to support welfare, etc.
Well, I'm old enough to remember hearing stories about people who actually worked in Prohibition. My dad used to make bathtub gin, and he was a driver for one of the top crooks. And he knew all about that kind of stuff. And Prohibition, at first, it was sincere, but finally it got to be padding so many officials' pockets that it took the American people to stand up and say, forget it. If they want to drink, let them drink. I don't care to be bothered with that nonsense.
Well,
so people are going to have to do the same thing about drugs.
Well, I guess in this case, sir, I'd have to disagree with you after 21 years seeing what drugs can do. But on the other hand, if you can't take moral responsibility for your own actions, then whatever happens to you, happens to you. So I guess...
Well, look, 100 years ago, you could go into any druggist shop and buy raw opium, laudanum, anything going.
Yes, sir.
And it was a hardship on your family, but so was alcohol, and so is alcohol. We cannot let our country go down the tubes just because of some people who have no self-control.
Yes, sir, that's true. That's absolutely true. I guess I wonder at what point will the American public stand up and say, you have to be responsible for your own actions. We will not support you and or your family if you decide that this is the course of action you want to take.
Well, that's up to the American public. All I can do is holler and scream.
Yes, sir, and you do an excellent job, and I think I'll let somebody else call in. Thank you very much, Mr.
Okay, buddy. Bye for now. Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. And if you like these tapes, you can get 5 tapes for a week's shows for $25 post-page, or $6 for one if you particularly like it. That's from Jeffries Audio, P.O. Box 326, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. I'll try to give that again. Hello, Kurt here.
Hello, Kurt. Warren in Mississippi.
Hi, Warren.
Enjoyed your last comments there about in England what they did was they decriminalized the drugs. They did not make them legal.
Yeah.
Then the people that were on drugs had to go to a doctor and get a prescription.
Yes.
And which they could take down to a pharmacy and get their drugs. So that took the big profit
it would
area out of the drugs. And
yes.
And what was an interesting thing there, one of the things that came back, many people on drugs still held a regular job. And one of the nicest comments, or most interesting comments, was that they made the comment that once people got about 30, they began to taper off and get out of the drug scene.
Yeah, there's so many young people that are being thrown in prisons at taxpayers' expense, at least $20,000 per a year.
Right.
That's a drain, but like I said, the Justice Department is getting rich. They employ people, and it's like our president saying he wants to hire 100,000 more cops around the country. My goodness, and who's going to pay for that?
And the trouble is there'll be federal cops, which means they're Waco Gestapo instead of the local sheriff's department, which you have some control over, and they're...
No, these were these were local cops. They weren't federal cops.
The 100,000 that Clinton wants to get?
Yep, they're
local
cops.
I thought they're multi-jurisdictional.
No, no, they're local cops. See, it's to give the money to pay them to divide it up among the cities mainly.
Oh, well, okay.
They don't need it in the rural areas.
The local control, then that's fine.
Yeah. But
quick comment.
They want to what they want to do is give. He wants to be responsible for employing 100,000 more people.
Right. Okay.
That'll get him votes.
More money out of my pocket.
Yeah.
But I fixed that. I took early retirement 5 years and live out in the woods.
Good for you. They'll never find you.
They don't get much money out of me now.
That's the best way.
Quick comment. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm a little older about the 3006.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, for the past 20 years, the standard military round has been the 308. I would recommend that one instead of the 3006.
Well, what's the difference?
Well, they're basically the same cartridge and brass and everything else, except the 308 is about a quarter-inch shorter, and it's about 95% of the power of a 3006.
Well, which is more common, like...
308 nowadays, in the past 20 years, is the more common round.
Yes.
3006 is becoming rare.
Yes. Okay, well, that's a consideration.
Very definitely.
Yes.
I hate to bother you with this one, but I can't find that phone number. I've got so many little slips of paper written down here. You remember the fellow that had the radio for $50 plus $4 shipping?
Well, I think he was supposed to send us an ad for it. Could this be it, Carrie? Yeah, here it is. It's,
Do you mind, please?
No, I wouldn't mind. See, I'll do whatever I can, but sometimes it's just... well, it's unavailable. The phone number for the $50 shortwave radio, which is a good one, is 216 788 7060.
7060. Okay, thank you very much, and really enjoy your show.
You're welcome. Okay, bye-bye. Okay, again, the phone number is, where is it? I've lost it. I've lost my phone number. Here it is, 501-437-2963. And Jeffrey's audio, again, is P.O. Box 9. Oh, no, I'm sorry, P.O. Box 326, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. And for only $25, you'll get a full week's shows, and you can listen to them while you're driving or working or whatever, and they're certainly better than rock and roll, or the hillbilly music comes on in case you're driving and you go from one town to the next, and you get to a certain point where you can't hear anything worthwhile except you got those idiotic hillbillies hollering and screaming, or these doped up wino rock and roll types. So maybe you want to hear some good conversation, and so you listen to the tapes, see? And Jeffrey's, he does the tapes good. They're all perfectly loud and clear, not like if you're in a certain area you can't pick up the program too good. The tapes are perfect. Okay, here I am again.
Hello, Mr. Saxon.
Hello.
Hello, hi. This is, I'm calling from Michigan.
Yes.
And I have a very simple question. We've been listening to your program about a month now on our new radio, and I wonder if you'd be kind, you've probably discussed this issue before, but I wonder if you'd be kind enough to go over it again. If you'll check your $20 bills, there's a metal strip printed horizontally across the top that says US 20 on it.
Yes.
I was wondering if you know what this is. They're trying to say that it's to detect counterfeiting, but I don't believe that that's the truth. And I wonder if you've heard anything about this, and also if you think that we might have some travel restrictions, because if we have a large sum of money that we're trying to travel with, and they might be able to detect by machine.
Well, I don't think they have the equipment for such a thing as that.
Do you have any idea what that means?
Well, it's there to track currency, definitely. But the honest person has nothing to fear. However, from what one of the previous callers said, and from certain things I've read, I don't think it's a good idea to carry cash around with you to that extent. I'd even prefer plastic than that amount of cash, because some people have gone to the bank or whatever, or they've been picked up for one reason or another. They found a bunch of cash, and so naturally they think they're doing a dope deal, or at least that's what they can say.
Right.
So, but I really can't see any reason why you should be carrying a lot of cash.
Well, if a person, for example, wanted to take a trip, and they
take what do you call these? Traveler's checks.
Traveler's checks.
Yes.
You don't recommend
Oh no, don't carry cash, because if traveler's checks are stolen, you can you get a refund. But if you've got a lot of cash, especially if somebody sees you flashing it, you might get robbed and killed for it.
Right, and well, now my husband wants to get wait. Yeah. See, well, my husband says you carry cash so that there would be no record of what you would purchase.
Well, there's no.
Rather than using a Visa or.
Well, why should you care if there's a record of what you purchased?
Well, you might not just want people.
Look, if you're buying dope, you don't want a record.
No. It concerned me on this $20 bill to see that metal strip across there, and I'm thinking.
Well, you shouldn't be concerned about those things, dear, because you got enough to worry about without things like that.
My husband says that then they would know if you were stocking up on food.
Well, so what if you're stocking up on food? I've got over a year's supply of food, and if you stock up on food, that's a good thing.
How about ammunition?
Well, if you've got a couple of hundred rounds, that's not going to bother anybody, and that's going to take care of your immediate needs.
But as far as you know, there's nothing ulterior then, that there's no reason for that metal strip across.
No, dear, because the feds and every branch of the Justice Department have made them such a very cushy, money-making operation that the paperwork is killing them. They don't have time for any more.
Yeah, okay. Well, very good. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, dear. Bye-bye. Okay, again, the phone number is 501-437-2963, and the mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas. Send $10 for the introductory packet, and you'll get $5 credit on either subscription to Shoestring Entrepreneur or U.S. Militia, and you'll get this David Koresh Last Testament. Here's Kurt Saxon again.
Hey, good evening, Kurt.
Good evening.
This is Harry from northern West Virginia.
Hi, Harry.
I called you a while back. I just want to let you know I got some good response off of that call that I called you about, regarding the populist party.
Yes.
Got a lot of good feedback on that.
Oh, I'm glad. Glad to be a help.
Good shortwave patriots out there.
Well, I'm glad of that.
Hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm running for office up here in West Virginia. I'm going to run for the state legislature.
You're going to kill it.
I'm going to try.
Yeah, well, what are you promoting?
Oh, pro-gun and stuff like that.
Well, I think we...
No, I'm not no liberal or anything by any means.
Yeah.
I just want to keep our rights before they get stripped away from us.
Well, I figure with over 200 million guns owned by private citizens, figure some owns one and some owns 100, but it would balance out that we got about 50 million gun owners in the United States. I don't know of any army that could take them away from us.
No, I think what you'll see is, if anything, is they'll be selective on who they'll go after.
Well, yes. If you build up an arsenal like they did at Waco, actually what a lot of people don't know is the biggest thing that excited the feds was the UPS office in Waco. They were getting so many arms shipments from legitimate dealers all over the country sending guns and ammo to Waco. They says, who are these people against? And of course, Koresh is always going on about the federal government going to come and take him over. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They say, hey, well, he's saying we're going to come and take us over. He's getting armed to shoot us. Well, let's get it on.
Did you notice that the media coverage has been very little, except when there's something that the government seems like, goes their way, which most of it's going against them at the moment?
Well, partly that, but partly because it's sort of a dull trial. They got a bunch of dummies there in court, and they're asking them all kinds of questions, and they were confused from the beginning. They don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
And the government had really put its foot into something hard to wipe off in that instance. And they don't care to go after people in situations like that. But the best thing to do, if you've got a 30-06, say, or else that other guy's recommendation, it really doesn't matter. Just so it's a good high-powered rifle that reaches out and you learn to use it. And that's all that matters. And a 12-gauge shotgun with 5 or 6 boxes of single-lot buck, which is 16 30-caliber pellets, which is much better than any rapid-fire, short-range assault rifle,
right.
And 38 police special with a 6-inch barrel, and you learn to shoot it. If you've got those 3 guns in your home and you got a couple of boxes of ammo for that, that's not going to excite anybody.
True.
And so
you can only pull so many triggers at once anyway.
That's right. But when you have 10 or 15 guns for each person living in your area, that's going to excite anybody.
Yeah. Hey, before I get off here, I was wondering if you'd let me get my address out in case there's anybody in the state of West Virginia that might like to help me out.
Well, sure enough. Well, why not give your phone?
Okay, I can do that too.
Okay, the phone would be better than the address. Then you'd be up all night. I don't much care for politicians.
See how you are?
There you go. Okay, give me your phone number.
Area code is 304-328-5810.
Okay, give it again.
That's 304-328-5810.
Okay, now you people out there in that area, if you're going to have to vote for anybody, vote for this guy.
Hey, I appreciate it.
I like him.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye for now. Okay, the phone number again is 501-437-2963, P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Send $10 for the information packet, and you'll get a $5 refund on either subscription to the Shoestring Entrepreneur or U.S. Militia. And you'll get this Koresh Last Testament at no charge. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Hello, Kurt. This is Dave, N4DQL.
Hi, Dave.
Yeah, calling from South Choppy, Florida.
Yes?
When I was running to Vietnam, we would pick up currency that had that stripe in it.
Yeah?
One of them was Thailand.
Turn down your radio a little, Dave.
Well, it's across the room. They were radioactive.
Yeah? They were radioactive. How did you know that?
They were on the uranium standard, and if it was a large amount,
yeah,
it would pick it up.
Well, what kind of machines would pick it up? Installed where?
It would have to be a Geiger counter that would be very sensitive.
Well, you wouldn't expect your local bank branch to have a Geiger counter, would you?
No.
Okay, so we're now, if people might be worried, now we have discounted the banks. Now, what other instance would your cash go under a Geiger counter?
Well, from my understanding, it is possible that this is implanted.
Yeah.
With a very low amount of uranium.
Yeah.
And as a merchant seaman, I advise people who are traveling to use traveler's checks. American Express is one of the best.
Yes.
And Bank of America.
Yes.
Because if you do lose them, you get a very quick refund.
Yes. Also, now, you see, you forgot to point out, we don't want to worry people, that if they are impregnated with any uranium product, it would not be enough to bother anybody.
It would be less than a wristwatch, from
yes.
what I understand.
Okay, so it'd be no problem in that sense. I don't want people to go burning their cash.
Right. Okay, I got your packet, Kurt, and it was very interesting.
Good.
I'm going to try to recruit a few subscribers for you.
Well, I appreciate that, Dave.
I'm sorry about this radio. It's across the room.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
I'll say 73s to you, Kurt.
Okay.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. Mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas. And if you get that packet, it introduces you to a whole line of literature that you can't get anyplace else, and it teaches you how to do things that no one wants you to do, and even you wouldn't want to do, but who knows when you might need it. Except, of course, for the survivor stuff. That's cottage industries, trades, all kinds of things that your great-grandparents did. Kurt here.
Hi, how you doing?
Fine. You there?
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
I just wanted to call. This young lady seemed to be very concerned about the magnetic strip in a $20 bill. I thought
okay.
But, put her mind at ease. The biggest reason that strip is put in there is so they can use those bills. They can count them with an electronic money counter.
Oh, now that sounds sensible.
When you get a stack of bills, 4 foot high or so, equivalent, and you have to sit there and count them, it's a lot easier to just punch them in a chute, and this electronic counter just flips them out like 10,000 to the minute.
Yes.
Now, if she don't like the strip in there, all in the world she has to do is sort of separate the edge of that bill and take a fine pair of tweezers, and it comes right out. It's just a piece of plastic.
Well, now, wouldn't that give problem to the counter?
Well, it probably would, but gosh, I guess that's a personal problem on their part. But I just simply remarked that it's easily removable. She can do with it whatever she wants to do.
Well, rather than confuse the machine, and you don't ever want to confuse a machine these days, because it might take your house. They're just so interconnected. I just leave it in there and spend it as fast as you can, especially if it's a woman.
I mean, what good is it if you don't spend it? You know, that's like being out on a desert isle with nothing to eat and 50 pounds of gold.
Yeah.
Okay, buddy, take it easy.
Okay, thank you very much for that information.
Well, I just thought I might put her mind at ease.
I hope you did.
Okay, buddy.
Okay, bye for now. Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Hi, Kurt. This is Warren in Mississippi again.
Warren, you called me a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I have a very sensitive Geiger counter that will pick up anything, and I just sat a little wad of bills in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
No change at all. No radioactivity at all from it.
Well, maybe David was referring to some program that had been instituted and then they stopped it.
I got curious about that, and since I happen to have one, I just stuck them in front of it. It was in my wallet in front of it, and nothing at all off of them.
Yeah, well, where do you get such a Geiger counter? I think maybe people would like to know, because who knows where some of those wogs or fuzzy wuzzies might buy some from Russia and start planting them around.
There's a fellow in California that put out a kit about 5 years ago, which I purchased. It's called a Rat Alert. and it will paid about $150 for it. It's about the size of about 3 packs of cigarettes, and it picks up beta, gamma, alpha.
Well, have you ever registered anything on it?
Oh yeah, you know your mantles on your Coleman gas lanterns?
No.
You know what your Coleman gas lantern is for like your kerosene lamp, only it's the Coleman gasoline light?
Well, okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt there.
Well, there's little mantles that glow white, like you use when you go...
Okay, you're right.
Okay, those Coleman mantles are slightly radioactive. If you get about within about a foot of one of them, you can pick up a little bit of radiation from it.
Do you know why they would be slightly radioactive?
Yeah, they have thorium in them to make them glow white.
Oh, okay.
And that white thorium has a slight amount of residual radioactivity in it.
Well, if a person...
Nothing to worry about. You just don't eat the things.
Yeah. All right, if a person wanted to get a Geiger counter nowadays, what would be the best general source? I mean, you don't need to think up the address in California, because I'm sure they sell them all over.
I'll tell you what, I'll call you back one day. And
well, what I want to do is keep you on the line for about a minute because I don't have time to talk to anybody else, and I just love talking to you, Warren.
Okay. Well, there is another...
oh, we got 3 minutes. Hey, listen, you're on.
Okay, well, I'll tell you about it. There's another out. Well, I've been in electronics for about 30 years, and I like to experiment at home. So I'm familiar with all kind of weird little things.
Yes.
And there's another outfit that did put out a kit for about $30 to $50, depending on which tube you got with it.
Yeah.
And anybody that could put it together and ran off of a little 9-volt battery. And I don't know if they're still available. I'll find out. And if they are, it might be interesting to give the information out over the air. I got the counter here because every now and then radiation gets released, and they just don't tell anybody about it. And, we have a very, very low general background. The background count here is about 12 to 16 counts per minute.
Yes.
And nationwide, it's about in the order of 30 counts. So here in Mississippi, we have a very low background count.
Yes. Well, I think maybe people would be interested if it doesn't. Can you pick up one through Radio Shack, for instance?
Not that I know of. I will look around. There's an outfit called Fair Radio Sales, but what they sell is the old military ones, and they do have an age limit on them. The little tubes in them that pick up the radiation will go bad after a number of years. And the couple of tubes that I've gotten did not work, and so I couldn't really recommend those.
Well, if you find a source that is operational today, because so many businesses just go on to another line or go out of business, you might call me up, because maybe somebody would be interested, especially if they live near a power plant or...
Right, exactly, and they're scattered around.
Yeah, well, this one lawyer, he wanted me to back a product which was a little plastic gimmick with little plastic balls inside, and it's supposed to be a radiation counter. Well, look, I'll talk about that tomorrow, maybe.
Okay, I'll look around and see if I can find one.
Okay, Warren, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So this is Kurt Saxon saying goodbye and be good.